with you. Why were the aspirations of such groups overlooked and ignored for so long? Why should a community continue to live on the margins?
Maria, let me remind you, it is not for the first time we have been seeking for the reservation of these people. In fact, Jammu Kashmir National Conference is the custodian of the interests of all the segments of J&K society. And if you remember, the matter was, in fact, with respect to the reservation of the Pahari people, it was taken by the Dr. Farooq Abdullah with the late Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Not only this, in the year 2014, Umar Abdullah Sahab, he in fact vehemently wanted that the reservation should be given to Pahari people. In fact, it was only because of this reason 5% reservation was granted to the Pahari students in professional and technical colleges in J&K. So the move is not new. We have been vehemently fighting for it, and if it is granted, we just wanted one thing, that at the same time the reservation which has been granted to Gujar and Bakarwals, that should not be disturbed. Number one.
What gives you the sense that it is being disturbed? Sanju will respond to this. Sanju, go ahead.
Just give me 5 seconds.
Maria.
Yes, Sanju.
Thank you. Maria, I think Mr. Amit Shah at his massive rally in Rajouri made a couple of very pertinent points, and I just want to add to what you said in your introduction. If you recall, on the 14th of March this year, the Delimitation Commission made a very important recommendation that Jammu should have, going forward 43 seats and Kashmir division 47 seats. And on the 5th of May 2022, we actually implemented the recommendation made by the Delimitation Commission, and the Law Ministry actually said that, this will now be a bona fide arrangement with Jammu at 43 and Kashmir division at 47 seats. The reason I'm mentioning this is because there has also been a provision to ensure that 9 seats are reserved clearly and categorically for the scheduled tribes, the ST community. Now the Gujars and Bakarwals, in 2022, earlier this year, they got political reservation, and a couple of years back, there was a 10% reservation for them in professional bodies and government schools and colleges and government institutions. So they have been pleading with Manoj Sinha and the central government that we do not want our 10% to be touched. And Mr. Amit Shah has made it very clear that while the Pahari community will be given, the status of a scheduled tribe,
yes,
in line with what their demands are, this in no way encroaches upon the 10% reservation that is already available to the Gujars and Bakarwals. So I think it is crystal clear. You will now have Pahari community being designated scheduled tribe as well, but without any encroachment on the facilities and reservation that the Gujars and Bakarwals already enjoy.
Okay, Sanju, the point also that has been made here largely is that by the Gujars and Bakarwals is that the Paharis never faced discrimination or ostracization that they have been facing for years.
I think the most important point that needs to be understood is post the abrogation of Article 370, if you recall, it's not just the Gujars and Bakarwals who were politically marginalized prior to August 5th and August 6th of 2019, because they could never be a part of the overall electoral process. Even the Valmiki community could never aspire to be a part of the electoral process. So I think what the abrogation of Article 370 has done is that it has mainstreamed the erstwhile marginalized communities, be it Valmikis, be it Gujars, be it Bakarwals, and now for that matter, the Pahari community, without trying to disturb status quo in terms of reservations already available.
Fine. Aarti, there have been multiple commissions which have examined this issue of the quota, and the recommendations have always been about Paharis, Bakarwals and Gujars. All of them should be given ST quota benefits. Then why did it take particularly for Paharis to get their due today?
Well, Maria, to begin with, the politics of Jammu and Kashmir in the last 70 years, starting from 1947, was Kashmir centric. It was always about Kashmiri Muslim leadership. It was always about Kashmiri Muslims rather than any other community. In fact, it would be absolutely correct to say that Kashmiri Muslim leadership in the first 7 decades of our independence was highly communal. It was xenophobic. It was ethnically discriminatory against other groups, whether it were Ladakhis, whether it were Kashmiri Hindus, whether it were Jammu Dogras, whether it were Gujars, Bakarwals and Paharis. They all faced discrimination by the successive governments which were headed by Kashmiri Muslim political leadership of the Abdullahs and the Muftis. So for anyone to say that, we were actually fighting for the rights of Gujars, Bakarwals and Paharis, it's actually a huge lie. Paharis did not get their due because it did not politically suit a National Conference and PDP because they were always focused about their votes in Kashmir. Whereas Paharis are largely, actually, you pointed it out yourself, in the upper reaches of Jammu region. And
yes,
Jammu region has,
Aarti, since you have made that point, it was in April 1991 when the Gujar Bakarwal got the ST status and when the militancy was at its peak. So the point that I bring, and I'm going to take that thread that has been, that has been made by Aarti here to Neelofar. Neelofar, if Bakarwals and Gujars can, then what stopped successive governments, and they were largely either of NC or of PDP, to really give Paharis what they should have got?
I have already also said that the matter was being taken by the NC government with Mrs. Indira Gandhi, erstwhile Prime Minister of India. Then subsequently it was taken by Mr. Omar Abdullah with
no, but then what really happened?
But it couldn't go through. I don't know.
They were supposed to be, they were named famously as the guardians of the borders.
See.
And then they were not recognized.
That is why the reason we wanted the reservation for them, that they should be categorized as ST. We had been vehemently fighting for that. One important point which I want to make here is that Mr. Amit Shah has today said that the recommendations of Justice J.D. Sharma Commission are going to be taken on account. What I want to say here or convey here is that it does not only speak about reservation of the Paharis only. There are other recommendations also with respect to Tetwal people, with respect to Bhadrawa people, with respect to grave digging people. So all those recommendations are.
I think what is happening here is, Aarti, is rather generalization and a narrative which is about everybody is the same, everybody is not getting it, rather than looking at communities which are linguistic, they have challenges, particularly with this one, because they live in the Pir Panjal Valley, which comprises of Rajouri, Poonch districts. They should have been recognized long ago. Aarti, why did multiple governments of Jammu and Kashmir fail to do so?
Maria, as I said, the leadership, the political leadership in Jammu and Kashmir has always been about Kashmir. It was Kashmir-centric. All the policies were formulated towards the Kashmiri Muslim vote bank in the Kashmiri-speaking valley. All the regions, all the areas where you did not have Kashmiri-speaking people, especially Kashmiri Muslim speaking people, they were completely ignored, completely neglected. That is why Paharis did not get their due. Even as, one of the speakers mentioned, Valmikis did not get their due. In fact, I want to point out this fact that it was the National Conference as well as the PDP who were hell-bent on actually disqualifying women of Jammu and Kashmir to get disqualified from the state subject. Imagine the kind of mentality, the mindset, the illiberal, parochial view they have about other communities. So it was always about they themselves and their fief. So I would